Hello and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. The subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with true crime events. All cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. So we have come round to episode 5. Reading number 5, another landmark day for Catherine. On Friday, the news came out that she has unfortunately been struggling with cancer. And that is the reason why she's been out in the public. It's the reason why. And that's the reason why she's not in public. I've watched the video. We're going to look at the numbers, but we're also going to look at the video. For those that don't know, all the new subscribers, I'm going on 28 years working in the television and film industry. And for a good chunk of that, I was an editor as well. In fact, I'm about to edit a feature film. I was meant to have started already, but slight delay in post. We just finished a film. So what I'm going to do first is go to the date and the announcement that we have here. So on Friday, March the 22nd, which for most of us, if you've heard, was also another unfortunate day for innocent people in Russia that were caught up in that mass shooting. So during the day, March 22/4, Kate is seen on TV. The other date that I have here is the supposed record date, which is March the 20th, 2024. And of course, I pulled out the days before the event and the days after. And immediately what we have here is a collection of 8s again, particularly the day after, March the 23rd, where I believe there's been another communication blunder. And of course, the crime here, you ask, is apart from the original crime, the crime of fooling the people. So the day after the announcement, we see a collection of 8s, a stack of 8s on March the 24th. Again, a failure to get the message across properly, in my opinion. The Friday raises 2 interesting numbers, the 22/4, the 33/6. Interesting. In the day of that Friday, we have the 25/7. Now, that 5 being there for me is problematic. And it is connected to the 5 on the March the 20th, the so-called record date. Both 5s at the time of the announcement or the video going out on air. With that 5, I wouldn't trust that information. The March the 23rd, we see the 26/8 and the mass of 8s. I've circled them. I didn't put it in a triangle this time because I wanted to make clear that we see the 26/8. Fake news, fake communication. Now, of course, we can appreciate the narrative, and I will just, as a disclaimer once again, my dear cousin passed away with cancer just last year, and my father about 10 years ago. So I do not make light of cancer by any means whatsoever. It's a terrible, terrible disease. Although my aunt, who's had probably cancer 3 times now, has overcome it 3 times and still fighting on, right? And she's going early 80s. So I do not make light of cancer. Now, what I want to bring to your attention is cancer, of course, in numerology, there is numbers for certain aspects of health, medicine, that kind of thing. I'm by no means a doctor by any means. I hold no certificate around medicine. But from a numerology point of view, usually cancer is noted with the number 7. Now, I just took a hot sample to show in the date of birth where the 7 shows up. I've made it in pink, and all respect to women who have suffered breast cancer. My mother had breast cancer 2 years ago, or a year ago. I had to help her through that process. I do not make light of cancer whatsoever. So we got Aretha Franklin, who passed away of cancer. Now, this is not to say if you got a 7 in your date of birth, you've got cancer, please. You will note, even though there's a 7 in everyone's date of birth up there, there are other numbers that make up the collective outcome, okay? So please, I'm just pointing out something here. Aretha Franklin has a 7. Patrick Swayze has the 7 in the day. Anne Bancroft has the 7 in the year that she's born. Donna Summer has the 7 in the day that she's born. Charles III has the 7 in the day. And Sarah Ferguson has the 7 in the day. Because the latest news is, of course, the kingdom is in crisis, because 3 figureheads have all got cancer. The problem I'm struggling with is with Catherine. Now, there are other numbers, for example, that could indicate cancer. For example, if you look at Charles being a male, and at the age he is, the 14-5 comes into play because that deals with the prostate area. 14-5 is old male issues, medical issues. When I look at Catherine's date of birth, there's no indication for me. So we would say she, with her age, so she's currently 42 in a 6th year. We spoke about that, the disconnect from society. Moving towards 43 in a year's time with a 7 outcome. Now, although significant, not significant enough in the overall picture for Kate. So the research that I did with people that are known to have died of cancer, I just thought, let me look at their date of birth and just see from a numerology point of view. But now again, please note, every person's date of birth has different outcomes no matter what, because the names are different, middle names, last names. There's a lot that plays in, but I'm just giving you an example. So the timing of the announcement again is a bundle with all these 8s. Now I want to go to, there's 3 things I'm going to show you now. Now we're going to get more on a video analysis situation here, right? So the first, I just want to point out the obvious on this slide. Where is William? If the way the video goes, William has been at her side the whole time. So why wasn't he? Wouldn't this have been the perfect? I'm just saying, in my opinion, wouldn't this have been the perfect opportunity to strengthen and stop all the rumor mills going, right? Wouldn't Friday have been a perfect opportunity to have William, fake or not, sit in and be there with his wife, be there with his ailing wife. Now, the next slide, I think it's actually the same picture, but yeah, so I'm going to bring this in now. So let's just, I was looking at the video just from a technical point of view. Now, the first slide, I would even say, if this was just a simple error, then so be it, it happens. So what I'm getting to is the actual focal point, or the person that's meant to be in focus is not in focus. Catherine is not in focus on that shot. Now, you'll ask, why is that important? So now, if you look at the bench where I've circled, that's where the camera is at the most focused. And if you go to the far right, it's a little bit blurrier. That means whoever did this camera shot. Now, the way you take focus on a camera, for those that don't know, to get focus, you would zoom in to a point that you want to film and do your focus, and it's very zoomed in, so when you focus, you can see it a lot clearer, and when it's sharp, then you zoom out, and then you know your picture's sharp, right? So why didn't they get picture focus on Catherine? So we can say it happens. The focus is off. The focus is more on the bench in this case. So let's say we can let that go because it happens a lot. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the next slide. So the next slide is from the same video, except it's from the BBC. There's conversations going on with other contributors to the show, but they do show a wide shot like this, right? A wider shot without the name band now obscuring her hands and knees and that kind of thing. Now, there's one thing that's always bugged me as a producer, director, editor, is the use of computer graphics, right? Now, when you see a final composition of a frame into a movie, which means, like, let's say the Marvel guys, right? You're making there's live action, you got the real actors, and then they got all this background stuff in, right? Now, you can never, in my opinion, and I've seen it too many examples, in my opinion, you can never match the light source of the live action with the animation or the computer generated backgrounds. In my opinion, I've never seen a perfect match, because one is a natural source and one is a AI generated source, or it's a computer generated source of light. So in my opinion, even the best in the world, I'm not saying necessarily Marvel, but even the best guys in the world, I've seen it. And personally, I try to stay away from that kind of material because it's very rare. I've It's very rare to get it right. Although the Royal Palace has money, the production on this video is quite low, in my opinion. So on this white shot, you'll notice how dull Kate looks, right? Versus how sharp and well lit the bench is. So for me, on this overall picture, here's a problem. Here's a good example of how bad, in this case, I don't believe it was chroma keyed. I checked for that watching the video. I didn't see any chroma blurs or any chroma ghosting or anything like that. This is some kind of generated kind of thing where the subject matter, which in this case should be Catherine, is so out of place from a lighting point of view. I haven't altered the edit on this picture. And when I checked my browser feed from other news sources, it's exactly the same. I encourage you to go look at that video from this perspective. Look how, so let me just point out to you where I'm getting to now, and it's all about lighting here, is where I think there's an issue. If we look at that bigger white arrow, shadow from bench arm, so you'll see the bench arm on the right-hand side, there's obviously a light source from the right-hand side. Unnatural light source, right? Because you can see the tip of the bench is very white. It's not a natural light. So you got that light coming in from the right-hand side. So the arm has cast a shadow over the 1, 2, 3, 4-ish banners on the back there. And then we've got Catherine sitting there, who, yes, her shirt reflects immediately on the bench. Now, they must have just polished that piece of wood so that it shines like that, like you can see, like reflecting like glass. So that was also a bit over enthusiastic. Also, the edges on that, on the reflection there, funny enough, all stop before the edge of the bench. So let's say the bench, for whatever reason, is a well-polished bench and it reflects the jersey or the sweater. Okay, I accept that. But then if you look on to the next banners, where I've got that other circle, no body shadow. So we've got a very obvious arm shadow on the right-hand side, very obvious. Yet there's no shadow of Kate passing by on her side of the bench. So where's her shadow? It can't just be that reflection. So I would say I agree, her body and arm is right there, so it would be hard. So in other words, a hard reflection, it's immediate. But the total shape of her body, where's that shadow? Or am I seeing things? And this is when you have these computer-generated things. They never match the live environment. So I would say, if I had to guess, the only real thing in this picture is the bench. The only natural thing in this shot is the bench, because you'll note the light highlights on the tips of the bench. Right? On the right-hand side and the left-hand side, we see both the highlighted areas of the light source coming from the right-hand side. Yet the same light source does not touch Kate sitting in the middle of the bench. You would see a highlight on her head area. Where's that light source? That's not right. Her shadow is missing. Where's her shadow? It should be falling like the arm to the right on the bench. It's missing. That's my opinion. So, you know what? We are watching a circus right before our eyes. All right, let me know what your comments are. I love engaging with your comments. I love engaging with your comments. Stay safe, stay alert, and I'll see you in the next one.